Okay. Okay, so hopefully this is all working. And yeah, this is just a test run. And we'll see. I'm just going to play around. Run through some of my drills that I do to practice stuff. So let's see. I'm going to go to... This is filmsbykris.com/scripts, where you can find a lot of my scripts I just upload. A lot of this is my GitHub stuff just on display to actually run and test it. I'm going to go to my game basics folder, and I'm going to go to 3JS. And I'm just going to pick one of these scenes that I've created and play around. Let's go, I don't know. Really should have thought this out before I started recording. Let's see. Multiple objects. What do I have here? Okay. I guess let's go to cube. Cube, or do I have something, a rotating cube? Trackball grid. Okay, here we go. So this is, just to practice, sometimes I like to go into some of the stuff I've created and just play around with the shell. So I'm running Chrome here. I'm going to open up the Chrome console. And let's see, do I have a scene here? Scene is not defined. What do I call my scene in this? Should be scene. Let's refresh. Scene. There we go. Scene. All my objects should be children. There's one object, the mesh. So like if I wanted to add a new copy, a clone of this cube here, what I could do is I can say C equals, so I'm creating a new object called C. I'm going to say it's, the scene that we're working in, the children, there's only one child, and that would be 0, and I'm going to say clone. And of course I need to put parentheses there. So now C is a clone of that. So I have two copies of this cube, but one's not in the scene yet. So now I can say scene.add C. And you don't see it because it's in the same exact location as the other cube. So what I can do now is I can say c.position.x, and I can say equals, we'll say 20. And that should have moved it. I'm just kind of doing this as a test to record stuff. Sound is a bit low. Okay. Maybe I just need to talk louder. Let me see here. Volume control. Recording. Let me know if that's any better. And let's try 200. Oh, there it is. There's my other cube. So yeah, so I have two cubes. I'm just playing around again, seeing how this records. I don't know if I'm getting the actual frame rate. Although actually looking over, the preview's actually working now. And looks like this, if that's streaming properly, it looks pretty good. Better, cool, thanks. So let's see. I can always create another clone. We'll call it B, and I can add that to the scene. So again, now I have 3 cubes here in the scene. And we can know that if I go scene.children, and I hit enter, you can see we have 3 mesh. But 2 of them are in the same exact location, so we can move B dot position X, and we'll say equals negative 200. So I think that I put this one over at, there we go. I think part of the problem is this particular script, if I look at the code, it only updates, I think, if I move the mouse. That's not true of all scenes, it's just how this one's particularly set up. So yeah, just playing around again. I feel weird not having a game plan on what to talk. I was just kind of testing this out. I wasn't expecting to go live, and I did, so now I'm just messing around. Anybody have any questions? I don't know, shell script questions, Linux questions, anything. Maybe I can come up with something to show you. Just let me know. Super fine guy, who is probably the only person watching this. Oh no, there's somebody else here. Hey, hi Brazil. Okay. Let's see. What other scripts do I have in this folder here? 3D stuff, spheres, planes, mouse move. These are all scripts I made a while ago. Boardwalk. Here we go. Loading. Oh. Old boardwalk model I created in Blender 3D and then exported. Okay, so how can you make a cron job that would correlate with the sunset and sunrise? That's a good question. I would, first of all, I would probably find a place where I can find out where you can get sunset and sunrise. So sunset, we'll say Naples, Florida, because that's where I live. Tells me right there. Can we say, how about sunset API? Or actually, you know what? Let's make this easy and say bash script sunset. Maybe there's a program that already handles all this. Bet there probably is. Is that cheating that I'm looking it up like this? What's this here? Web services, API, someone asking. Oh, look at this, sunrise-sunset.org API. And it looks like you can get some scriptures. So as far as a cron job you have to put in particular times. But I suppose you could, I don't know, you wouldn't want a script running in a loop if you don't have to. That's a good question. I'll have to get back to you on that. It's actually something that I've been meaning to do with the lights in my house. And I don't know if that's why you're asking, because I've been working on home automation here, and I have my lights set to come on in my office at a certain time, but I do want to set them to come on relative to sometimes. So I guess you could have it run in a cron job, depending on how accurate you want it to be, either every minute to every 15 minutes, and check the time. I'll have to get back to you on that. That's a good question. I guess you have a pizza for a script. I guess you have a script for a pizza. I read that backwards. Get the door. Yeah, the doorbell rang. My wife just left. I don't know if she hit the button on the way out. That's, yeah. I want automated chicken house and greenhouse irrigation farm stuff. Yeah, my doorbell rang. And I don't know if you... That's a future video. I'm trying to think of what videos have come out. This video is going horrible. Yeah, so last week, and I have videos coming up on this on my second channel, I've installed a video arcane button at the front of my house that is connected to a microcontroller, an ESP8266, and when it's pressed, it sends signals to both my computer, my wife's computer, to play a doorbell sound, and it also sends a text to both my wife and me through email, and it also takes photos with my camera of whoever's at the front door and uploads them online. So I have videos on that coming up, but the way I did the button is not a good way to do it. I need to redo it. So I'm just like shorting out the pin, which can cause false rings. Instead of using a resistor and ground and the voltage connection, blah, blah, blah. So like once every day or two, we get a false doorbell ring. Our doorbell just rings even though nobody's there. So that's just the way I have it wired up, and it's just, I just need to get out there and put a resistor in. Other than that, It's a pretty simple setup. It's an ESP8266 development board, which is $3 and change, hooked to a $1 arcade button at the front door. Wires were already run because it ran, it's going from the regular old doorbell that I took out, going to the garage, and that's where I set it up. So pretty cheap setup. It just, the ESP hooks to my Wi-Fi and just sends an HTTP request. But yeah, I have videos on that coming up on my second channel. But as far as going back to the other thing, sunset, sunrise, it looks like this site has API. I don't know if they limit you to how many requests you can do a day, but really you just have to get the time once a day. And somehow, it's a good question putting it in a loop. I guess maybe you can have a script that updates your cron job. That'd be a little weird. That's really... And the cameras. Okay, so the cameras... 2 years ago, there was some deal online for $100. I got 4 security cameras, really cheap little outdoor cameras, the wiring for them, and a DVR. The DVR sucked. In fact, it's in pieces on my floor because I was trying to see if I could get a serial connection on it, which I never finished looking into. I was going to send it back because the DVR wasn't recording, but then I found that the cameras, these cameras were actually cheaper through this deal than buying the cameras alone. So I decided to keep it, and I bought a like a $20 or $30 little box that they can plug into that's supposedly running Linux, and it runs a web server, and so I can do wget or curl requests to pull images from those cameras through my local network. So what happens with the ESP I tried to keep simple. It just sends one HTTP request to my desktop computer, which is running a minimal web server with BusyBox, which runs a bash shell script, which plays the doorbell sound effect, also sends a wget request to my wife's computer telling it to play the same MP3 doorbell sound, and then again it sends emails to our phones, but as texts, which I don't know if you know this. Most cell phone carriers, if you put the phone number and then and it's different for each company. Here, in fact, if I'll bring it up for you. Email, text, message. There we go. So here we go. So like I'm with T-Mobile, so I can put my phone number at tmomail.net and send an email to that, and it comes into my phone as a text. So the computer sends 2 emails, one to my wife and one to me, letting us know the doorbell rang. Usually takes less than 10 seconds for it to get to us, but that's more for when we're not home, we know the doorbell rang. And then once it does that, then it goes through a loop of 3 times taking an image from that other little server of whoever's at the front door, and just uses again, I can't remember if I used curl or wget. It uploads it to my website so I can then, on my phone, wherever I'm at, look at who's on the front door, when the doorbell rang. I just want to say hi and nice to see you live streaming. Yeah, again, thanks for coming by. This is just kind of a test run, and I really have nothing to talk about. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm doing my best to answer them. So yeah, and the other person here is asking about irrigation and home automation for chicken coops and greenhouses. I'm playing around a lot, with with home automation stuff, and just playing with the Arduinos and ESPs in general. Some of my projects have been coming along great, other ones not so much. Some projects I thought were going to be simple, and I just can't seem to figure them out. But yeah, in the next couple months, I'm going to be going over wireless transmission to control outlets in your house. So I have 3 sets of lights in my house that I can control wirelessly, and again, I'm using an ESP8266, which is about $3 for the development board that I use, powered with a cell phone charger, and using a little RF transmitter that was like $2. And with that, I can control these outlets, and each outlet was about $5. And I made a little web interface. In fact, I'll show you here. If I go to films/by Kris /scripts /outlet switches, you guys can go to this too and you can see this interface and you can click the buttons if you want, but it's set up for my local network. So when you click it, it's not going to do anything for you. So if I open this up, you can see I'm sending this number, and that's the RF number, or the code I'm sending through RF at, I believe it was 433 megahertz. So when I click that, so right now my office lights are on, and there I just turned them off. Same with that one out in the dining room. And I set it up so that those numbers aren't hard-coded into the microcontroller. They're in the web page, which is running on my web server. Yeah, so at any point I can add new buttons and add in new numbers. I just need to get the code that's being sent to the different outlets, which they are reprogrammable. And that's it. Very simple. And again, I can change the interface. The only drawback to these, if you watch videos I've done previously, I did have a smart outlet that was like $20 that ran Linux. And that I got SSH in on it, telnetted into it, and then put SSH on it, and then I was able to create a new web interface and stuff for it. These outlets, since they're just receivers, they don't send anything out. I don't know if the lights are on or off. So whenever I come to this interface, by default, it's showing all the lights as off. And if I need to turn them off, I might need to click the button twice. That's the only real drawback. But I can set cron jobs. So like I can set my computer, or I have a Pogo plug in the other room, both run all the time. I can set cron jobs to run a wget command at a certain time and turn on my lights and turn them off again at another time. So like my office lights, I would like those to come on when it gets dark. So I would like to figure out how to figure out when sunset and sunrise is and set that into the code somehow. But right now I'm just going to set, so like right now it's 10 after 8 and it's just got dark here. I'm going to set my office lights to come on at 8 and then go off at 10. And then I can obviously turn them on and off in between. What wireless protocols are you trying? Okay, so what I have working as far as wireless is if you go to, let's say, eBay, and if you do, just type in Arduino, 433 megahertz. Let's see what comes up. So these, and that's pretty expensive. You can get a transmitter and a receiver of these. There, look at this, you can get a 5-piece here, 400 for, that's a pretty good price, because I usually pay $10 for just a transmitter and receiver. Here this is saying 5 of them. I might order that because they're fun to play with. So I hook up one of these receivers, and I get the remote for whoever I want to control, as long as it's on 433 megahertz, and there's Arduino code, and I'll go over this in videos, that I can record what signal's being sent, and then I can hook up this transmitter, and again I'm using an ESP, so I can connect to it through Wi-Fi, and it sends out that signal, being able to turn on and off my lights. So very cheap little controllers. The range on them is not great. I hooked a little wire to the transmitter and it gets across my house pretty fine, but they aren't very, very good. Just yesterday, I got in some NRF 24, let's see, I got one right in front of me. Where is it here? And it doesn't say what it is. It's a very common, so NRF 24L01. So all these, there's a bunch of videos on them talking about how simple they are. They get a little better, they're very directional, and they can communicate to each other very fast. And I can see them talking to each other, but for some reason I'm getting the output all gargled up, and I'm pretty sure I have my rates all set up. I haven't had too much time to play with them, but I got a few of them because I want to set up a mailbox notifier for my wife to let us know when the mailbox is open, so she knows when the mail is here. And originally I was going to use an ESP8266. They are very power hungry though, and so I was hoping to use one of these chips and use an AT-Tiny 85 DigiSpark, which I just got in the mail yesterday as well, and I haven't even had a chance to put together and play with. Just so, and have a motion sensor, so when the mailbox is opened, it sends a signal to the house and tells her that the mail is here. So hopefully I can get these chips running. If not, I might end up using the ESP8266. The only problem with it is that it's going to be battery powered, and the ESP8266, since it's using Wi-Fi, is very power hungry. But supposedly you can put them in a deep sleep mode, so I might look into doing that. Either way, I'm going to have to put whatever chip I'm using into a deep sleep mode to not kill the battery. Okay, someone asked, ESP, the wireless gateway. Are you asking like if it's an access point? So ESP8266 can be set up to connect to a local network, or they can be their own standalone little access point with a SSID and passcode and everything. I have them connecting to my network just so that they can also connect out to the internet. If I did it standalone as its own access point, it wouldn't be connected to the internet. Are you doing more things with hidden messages? Yes, actually, I've been very busy last week. I actually have one all ready to go, and I think it's going to be a pretty difficult one. And I was actually planning on having the first person to solve it, I'll mail them an ESP8266 chip. And if no one gets it in a week, I'll give a hint. And eventually I'll keep giving hints till someone gets it, because someone will eventually get an ESP8266 from me. So yeah, there will be more hidden messages. The next one, like I said, I think will be pretty hard. And whoever gets it will get a small prize. That's the open source for the low bandwidth, low range. Is that a question? Are you talking about the this chip here? I actually, like I said, I just got mine in yesterday. I haven't really gotten it even working yet. Wide area local network. Again, is that a question? Would it be possible to use SSL encryption for this? Okay, so you're not the first person to ask about SSL encryption. I'm assuming you're talking about the ESP8266, maybe, Superfine guy. I don't know if you can set up a key when you're using the ESP8266 as a web server, but obviously if I have SSL running on my web server, I can connect to it through using HTTPS, and it should work fine. Haven't actually done that yet. I'm not too concerned like with my lights turning on off, because I have it set to only work on my local network, and my local network is encrypted. And I kind of live out in the middle of nowhere, so it's not like I have 1,000 people around me. You know, it's very easy for me to monitor my networks and any other Wi-Fi's in the area, which I do. And really, if someone would have to be on my local network to access it, and if someone's on my local network, I'm more concerned about other things than them turning on my office lights. But yes, they can definitely connect. Well, I shouldn't say definitely. I'm 99% sure. You know, they can do HTTPS requests, and you can set them up. You know, with WPA if you set them up as a server. But as far as when you're using use them as a web server, whether they can have SSL keys, I don't know. Let's see. Did I miss any questions? It's fun just standing here answering questions, even though I'm not really doing anything on the screen here. But yeah, I definitely need to figure out how to make a cron job that goes by sunset and sunrise. And let's see. So yeah, let's look at my eBay. Here you can look at some stuff that I've been buying recently. So some more ESP8266s, some boost modules for running certain things on batteries. Ooh, this is a fun thing. I just installed one of these in one of my cars yesterday, and I ordered another one. And I love it. I love it. I only ordered one at first because I wasn't sure if it was going to be any good. $4. This thing here is a 12 volt, but they come in 5 volt as well. It's an MP3 FM radio. So it has an SD card slot that you can play MP3s off. So you put a micro SD card in there, you can play MP3s off of it. USB slot, auxiliary plug, Bluetooth, and FM radio. And it is great. Very easy to hook up once I figured it out, and I know very little about car electronics. But I ran the 12 volts into the the cigarette outlet in my car, And then I spent another $2 on an auxiliary cable that I cut and spliced the wires into the output on this. And for $4, you get this with the remote control. And it's great because I have a micro SD card in there playing my music playlist. Then I gave my wife a flash drive with her songs on it and another flash drive with songs that my daughter likes. And at any point, you're listening to one, you stick in the USB drive, it automatically starts playing that drive. It's pretty cool. Hi Noah, thanks for joining us. I'm just kind of talking, not about anything in particular. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be here for a little bit longer. Just kind of going over things upcoming projects I have or projects I've been working on. This is a great little device, and when I go to install it in my second car, I'll probably do a video on that on my second channel. Which if you guys haven't checked out, check out my second channel, because I've been doing a lot of hardware stuff. Got heart monitor coming in, Bluetooth chip, amplifier. This is something, I wish I could figure this out. Okay, so, I don't know, a year ago, oh, no, probably longer, probably like 2 or 3 years ago, I did some videos on a OBD2, which is a plug that you plug into your car under the dash, and you can, get error codes if your engine light's on. You can also get your RPMs and speedometer and stuff like that. And supposedly through that plug, you can also control the CAN bus, which is the computer that connects all the electronics in your computer, from the radio to your brakes to everything, your locks and your windows and stuff like that. And I really want to know more about that. And there's no real good tutorials out there, and I really was hoping I'd be able to figure something out and do a nice, very simple, straightforward video for you guys, because there's so many videos out there showing people doing stuff, but they don't show how. And then there's websites talking about it, but they're very unclear, or at least over my head maybe. But I was hoping to be able to, I read these articles where, you can plug into the OBD2 plug and start through serial dumping data, and if you click your key fob or unlock your doors, you can record the signal, and then you can play them back to unlock your car, which is great, which is better than the method I've been using, which I'll be doing a video on in the future unless I find out a better way. But when I try to use the OBD2 plug that I have, I get a buffer overflow, which I guess is saying that the data is transferring faster than that plug could handle, and that plug only has one baud rate. So I ended up spending $2 on this device, and I went out today and I found a website that very simply, it showed great diagrams how to hook this device up to an Arduino, and how to, plug it in the pins. And I looked up the pins for my car to make sure I'm plugging into the right spot. And I tried different baud rates, and I'm just not getting anything but connection. Initialization failed, retrying or something like that. This guy on YouTube, Andreas, did a lot of research about the ESP8266 and deep sleep stuff. Cool, I'll check him out. I'm going to give a shout out to somebody on YouTube here. So let me go to my subscriptions, and I'm going to scroll down here to, where is it? This guy, Charles. So CNLOHR. The guy's name is Charles. He is a freaking genius when it comes to the ESP8266. He does amazing things with it that I wouldn't even think he'd be able to do. He figured out how, and I think it was not that chip, but he figured out how to use, I think, an Tiny 85 chip to wirelessly send TV broadcasts to channel 3 on a TV. Anyway, he does lots of neat stuff, so check out his channel. Most of his stuff is way over my head. My videos on the ESP8266 are going to be hopefully a lot simpler, but that guy is very smart. So going through here, other things I've ordered, anything that I have. Oh, this is something I want to play with. This thing, it's coming. I haven't got a chance to use it yet. So I can control relays, if you watch videos, with an ESP8266 or an Arduino or something like that, to turn lights on and off. But, sometimes things can be a little more difficult. So this device, supposedly you can put it. It has an ESP8266 in it that you can connect to through serials once you take it apart and reflash the ESP8266. And it's got a relay in there, but it also has it powers the chips. So like if I wanted to control, let's say, a ceiling light in my house and tap into like the switch in the wall, I know how to hook that up to a relay, and I know how to hook the relay up to an ESP8266 and then wirelessly control that. The problem is, then how do I power the ESP8266? Well, then I'd have to get a step-down converter or something like that to hook to the wires in the wall, and just sounds like a mess and working with high voltage and stuff, and I don't want to do that. But I'd like to play around with this. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Should just be able to put the power in there, and I would assume, control lights and stuff, and it's all powered through that high voltage. I don't have to worry about other things. It is a little more expensive than doing it the other way by $1 or $2, but it's all enclosed in a nice little case, and I'd feel safer if I do end up doing that, it working. So again, for people who are joining us, this is just kind of a test run, and I'm just kind of talking. So if you have any questions, let me know. Let's see, I've got some temperature sensors coming up because I would like to maybe do a smart thermostat in my house. That would be fun. Some relays there. Starting in July, I'm going to have a series for like 3 months going over a bunch of different displays. So from dot matrix displays, LCD, LEDs, color, black and white. So I'm going to be doing all those with the Arduino and an ESP8266 for the screens that are compatible with that. Yeah. So these are just a bunch. I've been buying a bunch of little devices just for my second channel. This is another thing I haven't been able to get to work. A GSM card for wireless connections. I think the device I have is defective. I'm not getting anything out of it after hooking it up to an Arduino, and I've asked for a refund and stuff like that. Got a GPS video coming up. Let's see. SD card, wires, more screens. Oh, smoke detector. A wireless smoke detector that notifies you through Wi-Fi when it detects smoke. So yeah, those are the things I have coming up. I hope you guys are interested in that stuff. If so, check out my second channel. What else to show you guys? Let's go back here. I got my little boardwalk here. Again, if you guys haven't realized this, and if you go to my homepage, oh, by the way, I just switched over to a new server. It was coming up time to renew my old server, and a good friend of mine's starting a web hosting company, and he's giving me a pretty good deal on my web hosting. So I moved everything over to new servers. So hopefully everything's working. It's been about a week now that I've been switched over. So, but if you notice anything, any links not working, let me know. But yeah, if you go to filmsbykris.com and you go to software, you have my GitHub page, and then you have scripts and notes. If we go to scripts, it brings you my scripts folder, which a lot of this stuff is from my GitHub, but it's running live here. And of course, you can hit this little magnifying glass here to search for stuff, if you know what you're looking for. If not, you can just definitely go through all this and play. Some of these are projects I never finished, some are old, some are new, but yeah, check those out. And then if I go back to my homepage here, right here, notes, which is also under my scripts folder. This is from my Pastebin account. So I put a lot of, if it's not a big project, if it's just one file or just notes or something, I don't put it on GitHub. I put it on Pastebin, and Pastebin doesn't really have a great search feature, so I made this little interface that pulls my Pastebin stuff, puts it into a database. It does that, I think, once a day with a cron job, and then you can search through stuff. So, I'm trying to think. So, like, let me just type in Doom. So you can see some of my notes on PR Boom and editing the source code for that. Or what else? So ESP8266. I have 2 notes on that. One of them is my notes on getting it set up in Arduino, which I think I've done a video on that. I don't know if it's gone live yet or not on my second channel. You hope it is not GoDaddy, which my old or new web host. I used to be with GoDaddy years ago until they became, for a short period of time, they were against net neutrality. And so at that point I said, you know what, goodbye. And I went to HostGator, where a buddy of mine was working. And I've been with them for a couple of years. And they've been kind of a pain in my butt. In fact, my service was up for renewal in a couple of weeks from now, and I was planning on canceling. Well, earlier today, they charged my credit card for the next couple of years. So I had to go and complain, and they're looking into it. So, jerks. But no, my buddy, I don't even think he necessarily has a company name yet. He's just getting the servers set up, and he has a few small clients, and I'm one of them. So yeah, no, I'm not with GoDaddy. My domain, thefilmsbykris.com, was originally bought through GoDaddy, and I paid like 10 years in advance. So I still have a GoDaddy account just for that. Their certificates are never recognized too. Oh, on GoDaddy? Yeah, that's another thing. Switching to my buddy's server, I can now do SSL, which I need to set up. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Because the old server with HostGator, Let's Encrypt didn't work, and I had to pay extra if I wanted a pro account with SSL. So that was another thing my buddy set me up. And actually when we were testing it, and do I still have it set up? Test.filmsbykris.com. Nope. Okay, that's what, for a week or so I was testing it there, and I did have the SSL set up with that. But then when I went live with Films by Kris, I haven't. I just need to go and click the Let's Encrypt thing. So I'm sorry, I'm reading comments. Someone said, Kris, sorry, I do not speak English, just get it written. I would like to tell one thing about Kdenlive when you have a moment. You want to tell me something? Go ahead, tell me something about Kdenlive. While we're on the subject, I'll talk about Kdenlive a little bit because I have lots of videos on my main channel, my first channel. We're going to be going over Kdenlive for the next couple months. I've kind of avoided doing Kdenlive videos because I kind of feel like, video editing software, it's pretty straightforward. For me anyway, it's like any type of, it'd be like, I don't know, showing you how to use GIMP. Unless I'm showing you like techniques of editing photos, actually using the tools seems pretty straightforward. So I kind of avoided the whole Kdenlive thing, but I hear all the time people complaining about video editing on Linux, which I think is great. Yeah, it falls short in some places, but for basic video editing, I think it works great. And when it comes to like special effects and stuff, Kdenlive can do a little bit. Blender is great for that. Still, we don't have anything I quite like After Effects. But I just wanted to do the Kdenlive videos just to show that you can edit videos decently on Linux. And I've tried some other ones, OpenShot. Every time I tried to import a video, it was telling me I didn't have the codecs for it, even though I do have the codecs for it because I can play those videos and edit them in Kdenlive. Okay, so we got someone else here saying, random thing, do you like these flat tabs on Chrome? I managed to change them back to the old ones. These tabs up here, I didn't realize they were different. Flat tabs. I will say on Android, on my phone, recently there was an update, and it used to be the tabs showed up as just like every other program, different tabs, but then they went back to the old way with the last update, to where your tabs you have to go into Chrome and then click on the tab button to see all your tabs, and I don't like that. So yeah, no, I didn't notice these tabs were any different. Do they function different, or do they just look different? Yeah. So it's weird me asking you a question because I know there's like a 20-second delay, so I ask it and wait for an answer, and I know it's gonna be 20 seconds till you hear the question, and then you gotta type a response. Oh, just really look. No, I hadn't even noticed that there was a difference in the tabs. So I guess can I Chrome tabs images, see how they used to look? I guess I should type in Linux. I don't know. This looks like it might be a little more transparent. Yeah, I don't know. No, I haven't noticed anything about the tabs. Um, let's see. So yeah, my site. I updated my site to this version. I call it version 7, although I kind of lost count somewhere early. I wasn't keeping count early on. About a year ago, and I really like this setup I have with. I really like Twitter Bootstrap. I use that for lots of stuff. Um, Again, even if I go back here to outlets, switches. This is a template I got somewhere, but I'm pretty sure it's using Bootstrap, 'cause I'm pretty sure that's what I searched. Nope, maybe not. It's just CSS. But yeah, and I know I've talked about this in the past, but like if I go to my scripts, so any on with Apache, you have your directory index if you have it enabled. This one here that I've been using for a while, is called H5AI, HTML5 AI, and it's great if you've never used it. I did a video on it a while ago. It gives you these nice little, nice looking indexes with all your folders here. It uses PHP, and you can do this, and if there's images or PDFs, it will give you thumbnails there. You can do like that. I can change the size of stuff. So, if you had images in a folder, you pretty much have yourself a photo gallery. Oh, and if it has, so I'm trying to think, do I have any photos in any of these? Day, night. That's just going to bring me to the program. Oh, actually, day, night. Did that? No, okay. Yeah, it gives you nice little thumbnails, and if you click on a picture, it gives you options to, scroll back and forth between the images. You can also click this button, and it gives you images. So like right now, I can hover over one of these folders or files, and it generates a QR code on the fly. So if I had my phone, I could take a picture of that QR code, and it would bring me directly to that folder. So yeah, this is again H5AI. If I click on that, it'll probably bring me to the website. But if you just Google H5AI, I love this thing. So it takes a little bit getting set up, but the instructions are right here, pretty straightforward. Check it out. So someone wrote, let's see. I appreciate the response. Have you made a claim? But I would not understand anything except some loose thing. Do not worry, cultural problem is mine. Yeah, that translator, like you said, the Google Translate, that's what you wrote doesn't make any sense to me. So let me read again. Kris, and it's only one S, but thank you. Kris, I'm just glad you spelled it with a K. I appreciate the response you've read and made a claim. I guess you're saying thank you for talking about Kdenlive, but I could not understand anything except some loose things. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of what it would translate loose. So a few of the things, I guess. So I asked you to accept my invitation for Google Plus, not their work. Excuse me. Our stupid translate, sorry. Yeah, what is your main language? Yeah. I always feel bad when there's language barriers. Spanish. You would think Spanish to English would translate pretty good. I don't know. Well, what do I know? I'm not a linguist. I'm probably going to hang out for like another 10 minutes or so, guys. And then I'm going to call it a night. But this is working well, and now that I have, I'm streaming this using FFmpeg, which is what I normally use to do my screen capturing, and so I'm glad it's working. And now that I know how that works, I'll probably do some more live streams every once in a while, not too regularly, but I'll be more prepared than this one. I'll, have something to talk about. But it's also nice just answering questions, if I have answers, that is. So I'm just going to go through some random stuff, unless you guys have some questions. So let's see. Let's go films by Kris. Let's go to scripts. Oh, let me mention this. So if you do go to my second channel, which I suggest checking out, which there's a link to in most of my newer videos descriptions. Most of the projects I have coming up will be under my GitHub. So if you go to github.com/melix1000, click on repositories and search for hardware. Here I'm putting all the code for my upcoming projects, any libraries that I use, and then I have right now a folder for Arduino and ESP. And as I add stuff, like I'm going to start working with a AT tiny DigiSpark thing, I'll have a folder for that. And there you can get the code. So like I said, I have videos coming up on displays, 7-segment displays, matrix displays, the Nokia 5110 display, and some other displays. And so the ESP ones, I have it set up in the code that I write so you can access it through a web interface from your phone and have it display new messages that way. So yeah, and here's outlets. So you saw the web interface. This is the actual code that's running on the ESP. So you load this up. You would change this to be your local network and its password, so it will log on to your local Wi-Fi. And at that point, I have my router assigning it a static IP. Although you can give this thing a local name like ESP outlet.local if you wanted to. There's some code for that. I didn't use that. I just gave it a static IP on my network. And then yeah, so this code is pretty simple. It's basically the example code for setting up a web server, which is pretty short. And there's also the very little code needed for the RF signal, the 433 megahertz transmitter. And so basically this is saying, so if we go to the setup, setting up a serial connection, basically for debugging, it's going to connect to my local Wi-Fi, print a blank line on serial, and then it's going to wait for the Wi-Fi to connect, and it will give you dots across serial while you're waiting. And it'll print when it's connected, what your IP address is, and then here it's saying, okay, if someone just goes to the root directory, run the root function, which we'll look at in a second, and inline, that's actually just left over from the example code. That's not even part of this project. If service not found, handle not found, that's another function, and then begins the server, prints a line that the server has started. This enables the pin for the radio transmission, sets the pulse for that, and then the loop just keeps on checking for incoming web requests. And when it gets one that's not found, it replies out a message not found, and any variables are sent. And then the handle, the root, it's going to look for an argument that says switch, which would be the numeric number I'm sending it to it for the outlet, and then it will actually right here send that code. It's 24-bit code to the outlet. Yeah. So let's see. I got some questions here. Why don't you add a link to the second channel on the About page on YouTube? I should. Good idea. I'll do that. And the reason I started a second channel is basically I just felt like my channel's already so split off on so many different topics, and I really wanted to get into hardware. Years ago, 6-7 years ago, if you watch some of my early videos, I did some videos on Arduinos, and I like the Arduino a lot. Definitely have come down a lot in price with all the clones and stuff. But I never really got into it because being able to access it remotely was difficult. It had to be plugged into USB or be standalone or use some sort. But with the ESP8266 chip, and using the Arduino interface to program it, and the fact that it's only $3, and now I can do anything through Wi-Fi, which means I can, communicate through it through a web browser or from a shell script using wget or curl or Python or whatever language I want. So I started a second channel just because I plan on doing a lot of hardware projects, and I try to keep them all very low budget. If you look at a lot of the stuff I ordered on Amazon or eBay, most things I was buying are under $2. So let's see. People talking in Spanish. Good. I hope you guys are helping each other out. Edit videos with a live CD or something. That was a question, I think, to another. If you go to the Kdenlive website, it's kind of outdated for this, but Kdenlive. They have, they've updated their website since last time I was here. They must have just updated this in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. So, but let me go to download. Let's see if that's still the same. Packages. They used to have a live CD, although it was completely outdated, but you could boot into Kdenlive. Wow, I'm really glad to see, because their old website was hideous. And this one looks a lot nicer. So good for them. But yeah, you could always just boot like Linux Mint off a USB flash drive and quickly install Kdenlive and be good to go. Just make sure you save all your projects to a drive that's not going to be deleted when you restart. Someone wrote, is it C? Are you talking about the language that I program the microcontrollers with? Neat noise. Oh, I think he's talking about streaming his video edits. So are you talking about streaming stuff that you've already edited, or stream stuff while you're editing it? I don't know, that'd be weird. The way I got this working was I just Googled FFmpeg stream to YouTube live, and then I just had to change some settings for my audio input, and and that's it. It worked. NetGames wants to know if Kdenlive allows live edition, and if you can add him to Google Plus. He only speaks English. Sure. I mean, add him to Google Plus. I'll see about that. I mean, usually if I get any requests for my Google Plus, I just automatically add them unless it seems like spam. But I'll look and see if I missed any requests. It's quite possible that I did. But as far as what's the first question? So live edition of Kdenlive. Like I said, on their website they used to have a live CD, but it was very outdated. But you should be able to, I'm just saying Linux Mint or Ubuntu or something like that, boot the live CD and then just do apt-get install Kdenlive and start editing. And then, of course, save any of your projects to a hard drive that's not going to be erased on reboot. Oh, you want me to edit a video while I'm streaming right now? I could do that. I could probably just do some home video that I've already done. What video do I use for streaming? As I was just saying, I use right now I'm using FFmpeg to upload to stream to YouTube. It's the first time I've used FFmpeg for that. Although I've done videos in the past, at least with VLC on streaming. In fact, if we go to filmsbykris.com and I go to here, I can type in stream and see what comes up. So I have command line streaming with VLC, command line streaming audio with VLC, download a streaming video, EtherCap, that's an old video. That's downloading streams, streaming audio with VLC. So this one's streaming audio with VLC through the GUI interface probably, and this one's doing it from the command line and stream YouTube videos, which has changed in some ways. But yeah, VLC. So let me go VLC real quick. If you go File, and you can do Open Network Stream. It's been a while since I've done this. So that's open. Let's see. Capture device, file. Somewhere in here, there's an option to. So this is capture desktop. So if I want to stream my desktop, I don't want to mess with that since I'm already streaming with another program. But just go through here. You pick what you want the output to be, and then you can click here, stream. And let's see. You can choose different. I have videos on that, which I haven't done very many videos in VLC, so let me just type in VLC here. I would say watch this video here, streaming. It says streaming audio, but you should be able to stream video the same way. And as long as VLC can record your desktop, you should be able to stream your. But that's like setting up your computer as a server. Right now, I'm streaming. My computer is capturing the screen with FFmpeg and streaming that upstream, I guess, to YouTube, and then it's splitting it out to you guys. So that's a little different. I mean, I think he means filters to live stream. Yeah, which is focused on streaming. Yeah. So yeah, if you just FFmpeg stream to, you can see I Googled that earlier, and I went through a few of these sites, and I think I ended up using the one from the ffmpeg.org website. Again, tweaking the resolution, and my input I changed from ALSA to pulse audio input default instead of hardware 1. But other than that, I think I just used this. This is the command I used with a few variations. And yeah, so that started capturing. And you have to, when you go to YouTube, they're going to give you a URL and a streaming key. And the streaming key is your private key for streaming. And so you make sure you don't have that on screen once you start streaming. And it should just start going. So, yep, so I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go watch some TV with my wife. But thank you for joining me, all 12 of you. And now that I know that the live streaming seems to work, I plan on doing this more in the future and hopefully have more to talk about. Because again, for those of you who came in later, I wasn't planning on really going live. I was just kind of testing this, and I thought I could be like testing it without being live, and then I realized that I was live. But yeah, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my website, filmsbykris.com. Check out my second channel. To get to my second channel, simplest way is if you go to filmsbykris.com, every other video of the newer videos is going to be on my second channel. This is one that came out today. If you haven't checked it out, pretty cool. A video on and I didn't come up with this, is displaying images and graphics to an old TV through the RCA connections with the Arduino, and all you need is two resistors and an RCA cable that you can cut, and you plug it in, and you can do very low resolution black and white video. This is one of my earlier projects since I started getting back into hardware, and I probably could have managed that repository a little bit better, but hopefully straightforward for you, and it's pretty cool. I also wrote a little script that generates some images for you. So like I put an image of Tux on there, and I think I also did the Punisher skull. Yeah, right here, because everything's cooler with the Punisher skull on it. Boom, there you go. So yeah, check that video out. I think I have a second video on that topic coming up next week. A little Tux image I created. And Thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a great day.